computer screen working, and we will go from there. Crack a beer, because I can. Oh, need the Jeopardy music here real quick. Come on, there comes the screen. Okay, I muted the computer. Good. All right. We are here. I am here. Can you guys hear me, see me? Hodges, 1455, wins the race at 5x5. Okay. Greetings from a extremely windy eastern Tennessee. I swear, going out today, I thought I was going to see Dorothy and Toto go flying by or something like that. I was trying to work on a little surprise video I've got coming up for you guys, and it was so damn windy I wasn't able to get much of it done. But it is what it is. Well, glad y'all can make it for a Saturday afternoon. There you go. Saturday evening. The sun's finally down, I guess. So, yeah, not a whole lot of interesting stuff. I guess you guys enjoyed the morning video this morning of some redneck engineering, and I've had a bunch more of you guys send me more pictures and stuff like that. So, as I get enough to put together another video on something like that, I'll put another one together. I've probably got probably 8 or 10 emails already that had some pretty cool stuff in it. So I'll share it with you guys as I get enough to put it all together and find some time to do all that edit work and everything. But that'll be that. So, did you see the nice little foot and mouth disease that our illustrious leader had today, calling Putin a butcher and saying that basically we need to overthrow the government in Russia? And no sooner did he run his mouth and the White House was all hands on deck, scrambling, trying to do damage control, because after yesterday coming out and telling all the guys in the 82nd Airborne who were over in Poland, wait till you see it for yourself. Wait till your boots on the ground. And it's kind of telling them, hey, you're going into Ukraine. Today he's talking about overthrowing Putin. I mean, it's like, what's he going to say tomorrow? We're going to, we're invading Moscow. I mean, warmongering? Really? I mean, come on, Joe. Why don't you just ask Putin and say, here's the grid coordinates to my house. Please drop a nuke right here. The guy's a freaking moron. But, not that the other side necessarily could be a whole lot better. I guess we have a congressman from Nebraska, Republican, who is resigning the end of the month for lying to the FBI. So that was really wonderful there. So, I was thinking, it's like AOC gets elected. It's kind of funny. It's like, what job can you get paid a lot of money for if you're not qualified to do anything else? Politics, Those that can do, those that don't, those that can't go into politics. Unbelievable. So just kind of the interesting stuff going on today. One little snippet for you guys. I guess I got a surprise for you guys on Monday. So wait till Monday morning, but you guys will have a little bit of fun with this one. So we'll see what happens then. Tease it a little bit for you guys, just because I'm going to have some fun with y'all. All right, let's get going quick today. Standard stuff in the way of rules, guys. If it's addressed to me, please put it in all caps. If it's addressed to everybody else, lowercase is fine, no big deal. Shouldn't be news to anybody. Pretty much every YouTube channel does it the same way. Please, 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 please keep it PG-13 in here. Every day I wind up going through and booting a couple of people out of comments for being an ass. Okay. If you want to be an ass, that's fine. That's your prerogative. You're just not going to do it here. Okay. My house, my rules. That's just the way it works. Sorry. And I've got 5 of the best moderators in town out there between Lorna, Lucky Dame, Jacob, Robert, and North Shore. And they will give you the boot. Okay. Now, this isn't Russia. We don't have to be, that picky or anything like that. But, as long as you are polite to other people in here and stay away from the YouTube no-nos, i.e. the 2020 election, climate change, or the contents of the vaccine, we're okay. If anything else you want to do, it's fine. You want to talk about that sort of stuff, don't plan on making a second comment. So I'm just telling y'all again, because inevitably there's somebody in here who goes, well, that doesn't apply to me. Yeah, it does. Sorry. It's the way it works. So, all right. As usual, nothing's off the table. You can ask me anything other than the voodoo topics from YouTube. I start at the top. I work down to the bottom. Guys, I try to get to as many questions as I can. If I don't, especially if you're asking a question late in the stream, chances are I'm not going to get to them. Usually it looks like I get through, going back and watching, I get through the questions that are probably asked in the first about 40 minutes of the live stream. So please try to ask them by then. When YouTube shoots me down to the bottom, I go back to the top. There are gaps in there sometimes, so I'll miss a question. If you don't hear the answer to your question, feel free to ask it again. I'm not trying to ignore anybody. It's just there's one of me and usually close to a couple of thousand of you guys. So, all right, let us get to the top here, or as close as I can, and let's see what y'all want to talk about this evening. We'll go from there. Summer fun guy, 5 by 5 equals 25. There you smart ass. Okay. All the good evenings. Let's see. David Gallifaro. Hi, Pinball. Any thoughts on vertical planters? Okay. Depending on which way you're going. So if you're talking about like trellis gardening, vertical planting and stuff for vining plants like cucumbers, melons, squashes, love it. Okay. I do quite a bit of it myself. Reason being, it's a great space saver. Okay. I mean, the ground is where the roots need to be. Above ground is where the plant needs to be. So I don't need my plant bushing out all over the ground. That's just a waste of space. So anything that I can take vertically, I will. Now, if you're talking about something like the green stalks or whatever, again, those are great depending on what you're growing in them. Okay. Great for things like the smaller plants, okay? Things like strawberries or things like your herbs that you grow. Trying to think of something else that would be beneficial. You know, if you know what I'm talking about, there's little towers that you stack up. It's got a little cup on it. It looks like, a strawberry pot. It's about that big. Certain things aren't going to work. Potatoes aren't going to work in that. I mean, you could do it. It's just there's other things you could use for potatoes that wouldn't cost as much. Great idea, but be selective. Think about the plants that you're going to have that are going to stay smaller and use it for that. You want to plant radishes in it or something like that. Hey, wonderful. Go for it. You're not going to plant corn in it. Okay. But yeah, anything you can grow vertically, go for it. And even the green stalks, they are great, especially if you're in small area, a patio in an apartment or something like that. Great, because now you're using vertical space rather than just the horizontal space. Carla Palmer, good evening to you and Mrs. P. Did you watch Canadian Prepper's show today? I rarely, if ever, watch Canadian Prepper. I mean, I don't need Amazon videos, so that's pretty good. I don't need to be sold. If I want to go buy something, I'll go buy it. Let's see. Rooster, there's an Amber Alert for Dorothy and Toto missing here in Southwest Missouri. Maybe they flew by here and I missed them. So, let's see. Boo and Stitch, thanks for all your videos. I'm learning a lot. Glad you are. That's the whole point of all us doing all this. For me to teach you guys stuff that I know, but like I've said many times, also for me to learn stuff from you guys that I don't. I'd say probably 3/4 of the redneck engineering stuff that you guys sent me I'd never seen before. So that was all pretty cool. Okay, scrolling down. How windy is it there? Well, gee, I don't know. Is it any windier up the top of the mountain? It's windy down here. It's got to be windier up there by you guys. All right, that mountaintop preps being a smartass as usual. I know I'll hear it from him later. Let's see. David Galifaro, how much worm castings is okay to use? You can use as much worm castings as you want. I mean, the problem with worm castings is they're expensive if you buy it, and if you make it, you're making, a bowl full. It takes a lot to do it. You can't overdo it with worm castings. Okay, you could plant directly in it. The plant's only going to take what it needs from it. It's not like it's a chemical. Worm castings aren't going to burn your plants or anything. So, the more worm castings, the better. Jill M, is the Easter Bunny coming? Soon. Not this weekend, but soon. Let's see. Misfit Makeup, do you think we're actually going to go to war with Russia and China? All I can say is I hope the hell not, okay? And my prediction on something like that, I said Putin wasn't going into Ukraine, remember? It's like, oops, wrong, okay? Logically, it makes no sense, okay? Mutually assured destruction, if we have a war with Russia and China, is inevitable because somebody's eventually going to get pissed. They're going to be losing and go to hell with it. We got nothing to lose, okay? Remember, North Korea is going to be on China's side, okay? And Kim Jong-un is crazy enough to sit there and shoot those things off at the beginning of a war. Putin is backed into a corner, and you know what my thoughts on cornered animals are. I hope not, okay? And unfortunately, we have a president in the United States who sure seems like he wants one, because, I mean, at this point, what's he want to do? To get people's mind off of everything else he's screwed up? Take us to war, Joe. That'll just be the coup de grace here on, the disaster that is your presidency. Anything that can go wrong will. Never underestimate Joe's ability to fuck things up. Never were more true words spoken. Blessed Girl, Pinball, are you going to have another meetup this year? Somebody asks this a couple of times a month. It's way too early to tell. We have no idea what's going to happen in the world this summer. I don't have to start. Again, if we do it, it's not going to be until fall. And I wouldn't even be looking at setting something up till late summer. And there's way too many variables that can happen in the world right now that I've not even given it a second thought. Bushcrafter, get ammo and get ready to jammo. There you go. Autumn West, yes, he's still got the beard. Yep, no chemical warfare in the United States yet. Hunter Biden. Deborah Edwards, can we talk about the Hunter Biden laptop? Sure. It's, finally, after 2 years or whatever, in New York Times and the liberal media has finally acknowledged that it's real. It's funny. It's all the stuff that was talked about Leslie Stahl. There's no proof to that whatsoever. You need a real big towel to get all that egg off your face. Your credibility is right out there with Andrew Cuomo's. So, but yeah, I was reading something today about the Republicans still saying, okay, the all talk, no action party, saying that when they retake Congress in the fall, they're going to impeach Biden. I'll believe it when I see it, okay? And, we'll see how fast the CNNs and MSNBCs squash it and nobody talks about it. And they go, oh, never mind, we're not going to do that. Again, like I said, all talk, no action party. When we start getting rid of all the Ben Sasses and Adam Kinzingers and Mitt Romneys from Congress, then maybe I'll start taking the Republican Party seriously. But if anybody wants to disagree here. If there was ever a time for a third party to completely take control of this country, it's now, okay? Because the two parties that we have running it right now are utterly and completely incompetent. Alana Seacrest, significantly increased the garden size this year. Working on my new garden layout tonight. Yeah, that working on a new garden layout, that takes a while. It's like, okay, what can I plant with this? What'll go? When does this go in? When does that go in? You know, how does that for I mean, when I rearrange my garden, which is every year, obviously, it probably takes me a couple of days, you know, I'd say a good 6 hours to go, okay, that'll go with this. This will go with this. No, I can't plant that here because this was here last year. You know, so you're starting to try to do your companion planting and your succession planning and your crop rotation. And you go, what do I do with these tomatoes? Crap, I don't have anywhere for them. Okay, so if they go here, this has got to move it. Eventually, it all works out. You, done. So, Kimberly Spar, how do you keep? It just shut up on me. Hang on, let me get back to it. It either said squirrels or chipmunks, one of the two. We'll see if we can get back to it there. Okay, I'm gonna find it. Yep, maybe. There we go. How do I keep squirrels out of the garden? Well, for me, it's pretty easy. I've got a border collie that loves to chase them. She will sit in the window all day long, and when she sees a squirrel, she starts whining like crazy and wants to get at the door, and she's after him like stink on shit. That's not possible for everybody. So, you know, you're going to start having to cover things. One of the redneck engineering ones was somebody who'd made little hoop houses with some netting over the top. That would work. Uh, Planting things that squirrels don't like. You know, marigolds usually are helpful. Garlic and onions are definitely helpful. But the other thing that we do that is pretty effective, depends on what you want to do, go to Tractor Supply or Rural King or whatever and get some of their cheap peanuts, shelled in peanuts, squirrel food. Okay. Spread it out on the other side of the yard. If you garden in the backyard, put it in the front yard, whatever it would be. It's the same with like putting bird food out or water or something like that. Animals, like people, will take the path of least resistance. Okay. If they can get food just by going, oh, look, there's a whole bowl of peanuts, they won't worry about digging up your beans or what, you know, whatever it would be. Okay. They're going to go for what's easiest to get. So if you train them that, hey, there's food over here, they're going to leave the food over there alone. We do a combination of them all, between the dog, I've got marigolds and onions and garlic everywhere. Okay. And then Mrs. P is notorious about feeding the birds and feeding the squirrels and the chipmunks, and they all stay on one side of the yard and the gardens are all on the other side of the yard. It works out pretty well. So, I mean, again, the thing is to remember, when you plant, expect to lose about 10% of your yield to nature. Okay. Between bugs, between disease, between the animals, just plan on it. You know, that's a normal. Mike Duncan Sr., cold spell coming here in Missouri. We're supposed to see that too, that it's supposed to get down to 27, was it 27 or 28 degrees is the low very early Monday morning, and it's either very early tomorrow morning or very early Tuesday morning, right around the point where peas are going to struggle. So I'm just like, I'm taking my chances. I'm not going out and covering all that stuff up and doing all that again for potentially 1 degree. So if they get bit a little bit, they get bit. Okay. It's not going down to 11. Peas they'll get hurt, but they won't die all the way down to 20. So we'll see. Can't fight Mother Nature. You can try, but you know, eventually it's a point where it's not worth. I'm not going after it for 1 degree. Robert Bates, remember, when the beard is gone, the bunker's sealed. Yeah. Well, you guys probably won't see the beard gone, because when the beard's gone, there ain't going to be a live stream. It'd be like hearing a gas mask going. Sailboat Diaries. What's my favorite canned food combo stew? Okay, whether you're talking about store canned or home canned, it's going to be beef stew either way, either Mrs. P's beef stew or Dinty Moore beef stew, which are totally different. But yeah, if I'm looking for a canned stew, I want one of those. I'm not a whole lot of other stews that really go after her beef stew, or if I'm in a pinch, Dinty Moore, and I'm good. Ann Palmer planted 5 apple trees, 2 plum trees. I can keep deer off them. Suggestions on the best fertilizer. Go out and get their little Job's fertilizer spikes for fruit trees. Those are great. They're maybe about 4 or 5 inches long or whatever it is. You just tap them in the ground near the fruit tree twice a year, and you're good. I use them. They're great. Okay. Do wonderful. Becky Reed, in today's video, which invention was my favorite? I gotta say Stephanie's smokehouse was probably my favorite. That was because you guys know I like smokehouse, okay? But that was really cool that she was able to build something like that practically for nothing. I thought it was awesome because there is an ultimate prepper thing. How can you cook and preserve food? The other one that I liked was the air conditioner and the heater. Those two ideas, those are really cool too. But no, I gotta think Stephanie's smokehouse was my favorite. Yeah, Billy Pollard. I read you, Lima Charlie here, loud and clear. Okay. Suburban Hillbilly, did my peppers ever come up? Some. I'm still getting, even on new packs of seeds, I'm still getting about 50% germination. The new ones, the new jalapenos I put in and the new banana peppers I put in, 50%. About half my seeds are coming up. I don't know what the deal is. You'd think it'd either be, you're always going to have some that aren't, no big deal, but you shouldn't have 50% out of new seeds. So, but obviously if some are coming up, it tells me it's not the soiling, and it's not the watering. So it's got to be the seeds. Natalie Gardner, Pinball, can you use kerosene in an oil lamp? You can. I wouldn't. Use kerosene in a kerosene heater, use lamp oil in a lamp. The problem with you using kerosene is kerosene doesn't burn clean like the lamp oil will. You will have that black sooty smoke, and kerosene's a lot more dangerous. So I would not advise it. It'll burn, no doubt, but it ain't going to be safe. A Cushnet Prepper, what do I think about Trump taking Hillary to court? It's not going anywhere. Okay, it's a PR thing. That's all. Mind you, this if somebody ever wrote a book with all the people Trump has sued in his life, it'd look like Moby Dick. You're Trump's lawyer, you're extremely wealthy, and all you do is write lawsuits. And whether they ever win or not, what do you think Hillary's going to do? Say, yes, I did it? Do you think Hillary's going to jail? Do you think they're going to give Trump any money from Hillary? No, what's the point? It's a PR stunt. It's funny, but it's not going to do anything. It's a civil case, and they're certainly not going to say, yes, Mr. Trump, you were harmed. You won the election against her. So we can't see where you were harmed anywhere. So we're throwing the case out. It won't go anywhere. It's good entertainment. And remember, he's a showman. Tammy Eaker, I love my pole beans trellised. Yes, I do too. But I do both. I do pole beans and bush beans. Let's see. Healthy disrespect for authority. Marigolds are good in the towers. Yes, another good thing to put in there. Rooster Cogburn said, I'd never it again. Picking up 2 piglets tomorrow, 400 pounds in the freezer, then by August. There you go. Hey, probably a good idea. You're going to be happy you got meat at the way grocery prices are going. Sorry, thirsty. Let's see. Christina Catherine, trolls are out early. Bye. Okay. I don't even see them. They never get, going through here, I never even see them. So that's, the mods do such a good job. I mean, it's funny when I'm moderating for Constantine over there, and Robert and Lorna also moderate over there. Mammy does too. But it's, we were watching a video today, live stream today, and I was moderating. And when the comment finally came up on my screen, Robert had already blocked the comment. Before I'd even seen it, he'd already blocked it. So it's like, okay. Speed of the internet in some places. Rick Grimes was wondering if you or anyone on the chat has experience with the SAR 9 pistol. I do not. So I'm not going to be helped with that one. Pinball, when you speak of Constantine, who is that or what is his channel? Constantine's channel is called Inside Russia. But if you look it up on YouTube, type in letters to King, because he changed the name of the channel, but he didn't change the name of the URL for it. But that's how you find it. Constantine lives in Russia. I've known him for a couple of years now. He lives in Moscow with his wife and his kids. He lived here for about 10 years, but he gives you a real good inside look at what life truly is like over there, not the propaganda that we see over here. And for the last month, he's been doing a daily live stream on current events over there at his own risk, because obviously everything that is going on in Russia, the Russian government is cracking down hard on people. So worth watching his channel if you want to learn a lot of the other side of the story, not the stuff that the media tells you. South Colorado Stetter, to me, our president just pissed off Putin more. Oh, absolutely. I mean, Russia said, don't bother with the cleanup on aisle 6. What Joe said came through loud and clear. We know you want regime change here. So, Biden wants to do nation building in Russia. That might go over well. Hodges 1455, if you had no garden and already had meat covered, what top 5 canned food would you stock up on? Interesting, good question. Okay. So if you've got no garden, you're going to need the vitamin A and things like that. So you're certainly going to want your beans and your peas. You want some high calorie stuff. You want sweet potatoes. You want like pumpkin. Those would be the things you want. High calorie, high nutrition food. And then I would suggest as a last one, probably something that's going to get you the vitamin C you're going to need. So certainly a fruit. If you have no garden, you're not going to get green peppers or anything like that. So you're going to probably be looking at canned oranges or something like that. So, at that point, you're starting to look at your vitamin A, vitamin C, and your, that's it, vitamin A and vitamin C. Those are the 2 that you're going to concentrate on, because that's what you're not going to get from the meat. Cherokee Man 71. Why does Russia have a better nuclear and hypersonic program than the USA? We invest more money. Real good question. Okay. That would be called the left, because every year we can't spend more money on the military. We've got to spend more money on welfare and food stamps and, transvestite bugs and God knows what, we can't put the money into R&D. We had Obama, who basically wiped out our military. I mean, under Obama, I kid you not, guys, our military was the weakest we were since World War I. Okay. And World War I, we had basically an untrained military. Trump came in and had to build all that back. So all the money that we were spending during the Trump era, the 4 years, okay, was getting us back to a 20th century sort of readiness. Well, China and Russia were working on 21st century stuff. Now we've got good old Joe in there, who's more concerned about kicking service members out of the military because they won't take his favorite medicine than doing something that'll protect the country. Literally, the reason why we have military problems is squarely 100% on the shoulder of Democrats. There's no other, and that's not me being partisan. That's just the God's honest truth. Ian Soche, I think. How is the garden going? Well, I haven't put anything out there yet. The potatoes went in, I told you guys, last week. So nothing there to, nothing sprouted because it's been cool. But we might, I should be seeing beets and radishes and spinach come up soon. The onions and the cabbage are just doing what onions and cabbage do, and the peas look okay. So, I don't have anything going in the ground until mid-April now, so I got about 3 weeks till anything goes. It's just all the stuff in my seed tray. So I'm actually at one of those lulls where I've got a couple of weeks where nothing happens other than just grow my seedlings. Flint McRock, Pinball, any tips about planting eggplants? I purchased Black Beauty eggplant seeds today. No, I mean, just, they are heavy feeders, so make sure you give them some fertilizer when you put them in the hole. And the biggest thing I can say is make sure that you stake them or put them in a tomato cage or something like that, because as they grow, those fruits are heavy, and when they come in, they'll pull the plant down. And if they're sitting on the ground or whatever, the fruits they'll get bugs, they'll start to rot or anything like that. Put them in a cage of some sort or tie them to a stake so they've got some support. But as long as you've got good rich soil and you fertilize them well, you'll get, good size, softball size eggplants. We grew them last year. We got decent eggplants. I just don't like eating it. So we decided not to grow it this year. Bugs. How do you grow a few veggies in an urban area? Buckets. Many ways to do it. Okay. 5-gallon buckets. We talked about the green stalk earlier. I've mentioned a kiddie pool. If you want to do something like peas, you can get practically a rain gutter and a piece of trellis, plant all the peas in the rain gutter and let it run up the trellis. Depending on the plant you want to do. You want to do potatoes, you want to do sweet potatoes, do it in a 5-gallon bucket. You want to do, like I said, cucumbers or something like that, rain gutter and a trellis is going to work you fine. Just, learn a little bit about how the plant grows and plant there. Does it have deep roots? Does it have shallow roots? What kind of sun does it need? Is it, a cool weather plant? Is it a hot weather plant? I mean, you're not going to grow green peppers this time of year up in northern Michigan. You're not going to grow green peppers this time of year in eastern Tennessee. Okay. So, if I just had a small garden here right now, what could I do? I'd probably have planted a few cabbages in some 5-gallon buckets and the peas in the gutter with the trellis. That would be it if I just had that kind of space. Then after the cabbages are done, I could go plant tomatoes in those same 5-gallon buckets. When the peas are done, I could plant something like pole beans or whatever in on the trellis. So just need to learn about what grows when and how. Does it have deep roots? Does it have shallow roots? Whatever it would be. Country girl, if I plant my cucumbers beside a chain link fence, will it vine up the fence and produce? Okay, it'll be great. Yeah, it'll work perfect. At the beginning, you're going to have to help it a little bit, but that's any trellis. So as it starts vining a little bit, just take it and run it through a couple of the links on the chain link fence. And eventually it'll start grabbing on and vining itself up the rest of the fence, and you'll be fine. Chain link fence works great for a trellis. Pinball, have tried 8 times to regrow celery and it ends up rotting when I put it in dirt. Any suggestions? Probably too much water is my guess. You don't need to get it to start. You don't want to dry, but it doesn't need to be soaking wet. I've got celery that literally last year when we plowed up one garden, we had a celery stalk grow from apparently a piece that didn't fully compost in a compost pile, because all of a sudden I had celery growing out there, and I never planted celery there. This year in my center garden where I did plant celery last year, I've pulled it out at the end of last year. It still grew. I just pulled it out yesterday again because it keeps coming up. I can't kill this thing. It's where I planted it last year. But my guess is you probably are overwatering it. Cotton balls. Do you think people will start panic buying food now that Biden mentions shortages? It's probably a little late because food's got so damn expensive. People are going, I can only afford to buy what I've got, what I'm going to eat this week because of the cost of everything. But I do think it's opened people's minds up to start buying a little more. And, maybe they start at the beginning, it's like, oh, I'm going to go to the store and buy an extra can of spaghetti sauce or whatever. But how you'll know real quick is look at the staples. If you go into the store and all the dried beans are gone, all the rice is gone, that's when you'll know people are doing it. Because as soon as you get online, what food should I store? Every article in there is going to say beans and rice. And when you start seeing beans and rice missing in the store, that's when you know the normies have started buying the beans and rice. Pam Rethford, how would you put up black walnuts? I don't have a black walnut tree. I don't want a black walnut tree because you can't grow anything else around a black walnut tree. So I'm not going to be the person to answer that one. When I see a black walnut tree, all I want to do is get rid of it because there's something in a black walnut tree that won't let anything else grow around it. Rooster, party at pinballs. No. not unless you want to party all by yourself, because I'll be in bed. Let's see. Yes. The hours that we keep around here are not significant for partying. Let's see. Deathmond, what are my thoughts on the rumor Putin has a terminal illness? He might. Okay. They're rumors. Anybody can make up something. And in the days of Twitter, how many rumors have we heard about everything? It's like I talked about a week or so ago. It's like now your sources, you work for CNN. Well, my source is somebody over at MSNBC, whose source was somebody at CBS, whose source was somebody at The Atlantic, whose source was somebody at Yahoo. Okay. I mean, it's just a huge circle jerk. And so somebody starts a rumor and everybody else picks it up. And now it's like, because 6 different news outlets said the same thing does not make it true. Could he have a terminal illness? Sure. Okay. Is he just a narcissist megalomaniac? Yes. Okay. Like every other big politician, he's worried about his legacy. How is he going to be portrayed in the history books? Okay. I don't care, and I think most people don't care. Notice that there are some, okay, George Washington, Abe Lincoln, or stuff like that. Notice most of the good leaders in history, kind of, okay, their name and that's it. It's the bad ones that you know everything about. You think about, who do you know more about, Adolf Hitler or George Washington? Think about that for a second. You know more about the bad ones. They worry about their legacy. Could he have a terminal illness? Sure. Does Joe Biden have a mental illness? Probably. Okay. But, these are the people that we have running the country or the countries. Sandra Mathis. I'm going to probably pronounce that one wrong. Get rid of McConnell too. We got to get rid of Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is, as the older he gets, the more liberal he gets. Dumbass. Oops, shot to the bottom. Let's see. Wyoming Yeti, any ideas for freezing, canning, or dehydrating eggs? Well, you can do all of them. For freezing eggs, crack the eggs open, scramble them up, put them in a sandwich bag, freeze them flat. That's a good way there. You can turn them into scrambled eggs later, or you can use them for cooking. For canning eggs, for as long as they're fresh eggs, not store-bought eggs, you can water glass them, so you can do that. You can pickle eggs, so you got that. Dehydrating eggs, again, scramble the eggs, throw them in a, I take it back, that's freeze drying, never mind. Dehydrating eggs is one I don't know. Okay, but freezing and canning, yeah, that can both be done. Karen Geisel, Gordon Chang says he's very concerned about North Korea and our admin isn't paying attention to him. No kidding, okay? I've been saying since day one, Russia's not the big concern. It's China, it's North Korea. I mean, like I said, North Korea is just China's little brother. Whatever Xi Jinping says Kim Jong-un is going to do. All right, that's it. It's not like Kim Jong-un does anything without Big Daddy's approval. But yeah, we need to be watching both of those, because the relation, as much as everybody liked to dog Trump about his relationship with Little Rocket Man, Kim Jong-un didn't do anything when Trump was there. Okay, Trump played him like a fiddle. Biden is just an idiot. Tell me this. Have you heard anything in 15 months of Biden's presidency about any sort of conversation we've had diplomatically with North Korea? No, because he hasn't done anything. He's just ignored them. He's too busy shitting in his diaper and, asking about his pudding for dinner. I mean, the man has no clue about what's going on in the world. And the people that are running the show behind him are even dumber. I mean, who the hell were the speechwriters who wrote the speech that he gave in Poland saying Putin's a butcher and we need to overthrow the government? That's a competent diplomat? Ennis Norfolk, could planting a garden to meet vitamin needs but be a separate video topic? I've done it. What was it called? God, I did this about a year ago. I think it's 5 plants or 10 plants that could save your life or something like that, or 5 plants you should plant now, something like that. If you look in the gardening playlist, I've already done that with specifically what ones to grow and why, what nutritional benefit they're going to give you. Okay. Oxford Prepping says the same thing. Freeze in ice cube trays or scramble, cook, and dehydrate. Okay. Highlander, anybody find a source for good tasting freeze-dried fruit? I don't have any of it. I've got some canned fruit that we'll go through, and then I've got fruit trees, so I'm not overly concerned about that, whatever we can up to. Darlene Carter, do you know if we let wildlife stock our ponds, we'll have to let strangers fish from it? I've heard yes and no. I have private property. That would be news to me. If you're letting like the Fish and Wildlife Department stock it? I'm guessing that's going to be by state, but I'm not letting anybody on my property for anything. Okay, not my next door neighbor without my permission. You want to come fish in my pond when I get it done? You better have my permission. If I see you out there with it, you better know how to dance, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I've never heard of like a Fish and Wildlife Department stocking a pond. And sorry, no. Even if they do stock a pond, it's my private property. You might want to go look at the definition of that there, Mr. DNR person. Okay, private means mine, not yours. Okay. Nancy Johnson, I found a sale on corned beef and canned 23 pounds of corned beef hash for myself. There you go. That's a lot of corned beef hash. North Shore says grow potatoes in plastic totes. Yep. And you got videos on that too and show how it works. So, Oh, one woof. Any tips on fig trees? Just bought 6. I've got a couple of them in the yard. I don't know how big you got them. Just be patient with them. They bloom later than your other fruit trees because we thought they were dead, and then they come back. They're about a month later, and they are not fast growers. So just plan on waiting a while till you have figs. But other than that, treat them like a regular fruit tree. Pot, give them plenty of room for roots. Make sure you mulch the tops. Keep the grass away from them, and fertilize them. Again, the plant spikes work good. Christina Catherine, I prefer COVID to World War III. Yeah. Billy Longmont, any info on the Chinese troop buildup in South China Sea? I haven't seen anything new lately. If there has been, then I just haven't seen it. I was busy most of the day today, so I really haven't paid a whole lot of attention to what happened in the world today. I glanced through everything for about 45 minutes before we came on, but that was about it. Oh, I need that. Let's see. Jennifer Espinosa, is potting soil enough to grow a garden? No other soil and or fertilizer? No. Potting soil is specifically, and I mean, again, it's specifically for pots because it will retain moisture and is lighter than, say, a topsoil or something like that. But could you grow in pots a garden? Yes. Are you still going to need to fertilize? Yes. You're still going to need to amend the soil somewhat because the fertilizer that's in the potting soil, if you read the bag of Miracle Grow or whatever, it says right on there, feed your plants for up to 4 months. Okay, depending on what you're planting, or how many times you plant on it, the growing season is more than 4 months for some plants. So yeah, you may need to fertilize it and everything like that. I mean, it's just a generic deal. I mean, if you're going to put blueberries in it, well, okay, now you've got to acidify the soil. That's going to be changing it up. Okay, if you're going to put tomatoes in it, you're going to need to put some extra calcium. Tomatoes or peppers, you're going to need to put some extra calcium in there. Otherwise, you're going to get blossom end rot. So you need to know about what you're planting and what you're planting in. It's kind of like what I said, was it February? I did the soil test and showed you guys, so you know what you're missing. Because you can go spend a ton of money on plants or seeds at this point. Seeds aren't cheap. And if you don't have a good base that you're planting them in and good fertilizer with them, they're not going to grow. This is the big thing that the farmers are all complaining about right now. They've got the land and the land is fertile, but they need the fertilizer. And if they don't get the fertilizer, they can't just grow out of that fertile soil they had. They'll get a yield, but not nearly what they need. Same thing here. You'll get a tomato plant, but you'll get 6 or 8 tomatoes, not 20. So it's worth it to make your own fertilizer or spend the time learning about what you can do. I mean, I did the video on fertilizing. I've done or I'm making your own fertilizer. I've done the videos on how to fertilize other plants and things like that, what you need to do. Go back and watch them. Acushnet Prepper, have I ever tried to grow rhubarb? I have not. My grandfather used to, and I love the stuff. I want to do it. I need another garden. So I need more space to grow more stuff. How many zucchini do I plant? Gee, Mountaintop Preps, you want to answer this question? Mountaintop had so many zucchini last year. They were leaving it on my porch on their way to work in the morning. I'm planting like 6 plants. That's it, because zucchini are prolific producers. And I mean, if you hit one of those years where they grow like crazy, you'll pick them all today, go out there tomorrow and go, I just picked all these, and there's a whole bunch more to pick again. So if you're going to plant zucchini for your personal use, do not plant a ton of them. Somebody told me a joke one time is around zucchini harvest season, You can always tell the people who didn't lock their cars at church because their driver's seat was full of boxes of zucchini. So it's, just people are trying to get rid of it. Bob Mills says you can put soil in a cardboard box and grow a lot of vegetables if you don't have room. Yeah, I mean, God knows we get Amazon boxes, guys. Use that as a planting bed if you need to. It ain't gonna be the prettiest thing in the world, but it'll last, for planting vegetables. Uh, Julie F. Mutant celery, did it come out of the Fauci sauce? Yeah, no kidding. It's just the stuff will not die. Lead by example. I didn't wash out my eggshells. Can I still use my compost? Here's my concern. I know some people say, yeah, go ahead, do it. Okay. But the problem is this is how salmonella winds up in your spinach, stuff like that. I would throw it out personally. Every time you see one of these stories on the bag salad from Dole, or the spinach from this place or whatever has salmonella. How the hell does salmonella get in a vegetable field? Well, it's because of what they put on there, which chances are was compost. And if there was eggs or something in there, that's how it's going to be. Other people will tell you different. That's me. Okay. I always wash out my eggshells first, make sure there's no residue of the egg in there. So other people will tell you there's other people who tell you that you can use human feces in your compost pile. I'm not going to do that either. All right. My opinion. Honey Badger's Homestead. There's a perennial celery. It's a very old homestead variety. I doubt that's what this is. This is some seeds I had that I planted celery last year. It's coming up. One of them is. That's it. So who knows? Maybe it is, but I just keep getting rid of it because it's where my beets are now. Wilderness Woman, Zatarans is gone here. I guess that counts as beans and rice. There you go. Mama Bear, if I had one question to ask Biden, what would it be? When are you going to resign? Fred Coates, how many onions and how many potatoes would you say to plant in 25-gallon buckets? How big is it? I mean, a 25-gallon bucket's 5-gallon buckets, but I'm trying to think. Probably 2.5 feet wide. I'd say you probably plant 4 potatoes in something that big. Onions, you could get a bunch, because onions you plant about 6 inches apart, and I just almost plant them in like a pinwheel in the bucket for the onions that way. So yeah, you could probably get in bucket that big 25 onions or something like that. Potatoes, I'd probably plant 4. Lonnie Schrader, what's the difference between a bush bean and a pole bean? I've only ever done bush beans. Bush beans, they will get to be, a foot and a half, 2 feet high. A pole bean is your climber. That's the one that will go up a trellis that you build the pyramid out of, stakes or something like that. You can grow them up a pole, up a fence, or whatever it is. They go up. They're vines, as opposed to the bush bean, which is a bush. Difference. I mean, there's so many thousands of different kinds of beans. I mean, you can get pole bean green beans, you can get bush bean green beans, runner beans, half runner beans, red runner beans, yellow beans, wax beans, whatever. All beans come pretty much in both kinds. JD Israel, what would chemical warfare do to crops? Well, first off, it depends on the chemical. And second off, farmland is not exactly where you're going to be using chemical warfare. Unless, of course, your idea is to kill the food. And, what I say this morning is 915 million acres of farmland in the United States. That's a lot of chemicals you would need to use to kill all the food off. Chemical warfare is more going to be used in urban areas. So Depends on the chemical, and I really don't think that will be too much of an issue. They're taking a whole lot of chemicals to cover all the farms. Let's see. Rooster, we must all have a 50-50 attitude on all Main Street media. They can't be trusted. I get the truth here in Glenn Beck. There you go. Yeah, I mean, you listen to the media, and what was it? Reagan, trust but verify. Okay, and I mean, because I'll go look at MSNBC and CNN and stuff like that and see what they're talking about, because sometimes it'll lead me down a path to go find something else somewhere else, and then I can get the truth. I mean, CNN may give me the lead, and then I go find out the facts from somebody else. Because God knows I'm not listening to CNN for facts. Okay. We get down to the bottom, so I gotta scroll up again. Okay. Okay, Rooster, plant stick and save your life. There's the video that I did. Okay, thank you. Yarn Prepper says Thrive has amazing freeze-dried apples. Okay. Truth Seeker, pinball playing with silver coin tonight. I don't know what you mean by that. David Green, on the pond, I heard the state will stock, then you have to open to the public. I'm not doing that. I'm not either. I mean, I'd go out and spend $100 if I want to buy little fingerlings for to stock a pond, where I can go to the lake over here, go catch myself a few bluegill and throw them in the lake, wait a year, and I'm going to have a whole mess of them. So not like a big deal there. I'm certainly not letting anybody on my property. Hey, you want to come on my property? It's $100 an hour to fish. Yeah. See to yourself, don't ever take money from the federal or state government. It's no different taking money from the mafia. Ain't that the truth? Yeah. We'll give you $100 worth of fish, baby fish. You just have to let the world come fish in your property. No, because then what? I'm going to sit out here and make sure you have a license when you come in. I'm not opening a business. I'm putting something on my property that I want. South Colorado Stutter, did Mrs. P listen to the Pope's International Prayer? Was wondering what you thought. If she did, I doubt she did. If she did, I don't even know if she did. Susie D, dog food is an astronomical $38 for a 16-ounce bag, freeze-dried. Any ideas on better and cheaper brands? I buy my dog food from Chewy, what we get, and then we supplement the dog's dry food with homemade food. I've done a video on making homemade dog food. My suggestion would be learn to start doing that, because dog food is a lot of corn, and with no nitrogen, no corn, or very expensive. So that's why the price of that's going to go up. So if you can grow the ingredients to make your dog food, that's going to be your best option. Vester Dillon just got back from Walmart. A lot of things missing, worse things, prices through the roof. Yeah, same song, different day. Let's see. Jen Boyles, pinball, is it okay to mix herbal tea in with coffee grounds for the garden? Sure. Yeah. I mean, throw the whole tea bag in there. If you can take the little staple out, that's fine. But Mrs. P drinks loose leaf tea, and we just throw the leaves right in with the compost pile with the coffee grounds from my coffee, and off and running it goes. I mean, no big deal. I mean, tea is good in high in nitrogen. What is it? Tannic acid, I think, is in tea, stuff like that. So there's a lot of good things in tea that go good in your garden too. Lost Hippie. My mother was a coin collector since the 40s. When she passed away, I inherited it. Very large collection. They're old nickels, dimes, and quarters. Are the old nickels, dimes, and quarters worth the silver prices? Don't know anything. Yes, they are. It's called junk silver. Anything pre-1964 is 90% silver. So it's $1 I believe it's $1.20 in face value of the coin will make you an ounce of silver. So, 4 quarters and 2 dimes will give you 1 ounce of silver. But if you take it to an old coin shop, they'll know that. But don't necessarily just sell it for the silver. You may have some coins in there that have a lot of intrinsic value to it to a collector. Some may just be worth the silver content. Others could be collector's items. But yes, they are definitely worth something. Not a nickel. Oh, $9.59. Okay. South Colorado Setter, do I think most of the Ukraine immigrants coming here will be Republican? Who knows? They can't vote anyway. Okay. If they come here, remember, you got to be a citizen to vote. So, and I can tell you, Mrs. P fast tracking because she was married to me. It still took more than 4 years to get her citizenship. You think they would be, especially the way the Liberal Party's going communist, but who knows? So, and let's see if I can do one more and we'll get around here. Billy Rose, Epsom salt sprinkled around your tomatoes will prevent blossom end rot. That's incorrect. Epsom salt is magnesium. Blossom end rot is caused from a lack of calcium. Epsom salt is definitely good for your tomatoes, your peppers, but it's not. The lack of magnesium is not what causes blossom end rot. It's lack of calcium. If you're going to add, you can add eggshells to the whole. You can add calcium nitrate. Absolutely add Epsom salt to your tomatoes and peppers. Definitely worthwhile, but just that's not the solution for the problem you got. So, all right, guys, it's Saturday night. That's it. Have a good one, y'all. Pinball out.